What's going on, YouTube? I just finished Churchill, A Study in Greatness, and I'm actually in a little book club, and this was the book we talked about, and we had this conversation last night about the book and what we liked about it. And it helped me realize that there is so much that I don't understand about World War I and World War II that I just had a really small perspective on both wars. But Churchill, I mean, if you've studied him at all, I mean, there's no like simple way of saying what was great about him. He had tons of energy. He was enigmatic. He was kind of a polarizing figure. There were people that really didn't like him, and there were people that the closer you got to him, the more he won you over. But his bravery, I mean, when before the U.S. entered World War II, and the way that he kept the fighting spirit alive in England when under the threat of Germany and Hitler, I mean, just absolutely amazing. I mean, this guy, he was accused of being a warmonger, and I didn't get that at all from the book. What I saw was that this is a guy that was able to he was a wonderful orator, and to be able to give the language and encourage the fire of the English people to not let themselves be taken over by Hitler. And he helped give England the backbone they needed in a time of tremendous trial. His work ethic, I mean, he would sleep like 3 hours at night, and then he would take a little nap in the afternoon, and he basically did enough work in one day that most people would do in 2 days. I mean, just the way he managed his energy, and just his right. He was a great writer, a great painter. I mean, just so much. I don't even know what all to say. It really piqued my interest to want to learn more about him, more about World War II specifically, just because my grandfather fought in it, and there's just a lot about it I don't understand. But definitely one of the greatest figures in history. Not perfect by any means. I mean, he had a huge ego, but I think, Geoffrey, the author, does a really good job of showing how his faults and shortcomings really played into his strengths, which I think is really the case with most, if not all of us. So definitely worth reading. It was not an easy read at all for me. There was so much detail, and the author really covered stuff that I wasn't familiar enough with to breeze through it easily, but definitely worth reading. Churchill, A Study in Greatness. I think just to end with, I think for me it was what was intriguing to me about the book is what does it mean to be great? I think that all of us are born with a desire for greatness, and I think defining greatness is really important. I think I don't know, quite honestly, how to define greatness. I think that one thing that I'll say that I think you can see in the book that I think it has to go along with greatness is living for a cause that's bigger than yourself. I don't think you could make an argument that anyone in human history that is considered great lived just for themselves. So Churchill, he fought for something bigger than himself. He fought the idea of the British Empire, the idea he had an idea of England in his head, and he fought for that ideal. He fought for the peace that he knew could be achieved. And I think that for us to be great, so it kind of a question I think for all of us is, what cause are we fighting for that's bigger than ourselves? I would say that's one takeaway from the book. And if we're going to be great, it can't be about us. So it's worth checking out. If you haven't already, we'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, and have a great day.